Pero bago natin simulan, alam mo bang isa ang 1xBet sa mga leading betting company sa buong mundo? Kaya naman huwag nang magdalawang isip pa at tumalpak na.
Kai Sotto, you need to get on the San Antonio Spurs. 3 reasons the San Antonio Spurs should sign him. Number 1, they need a big man. Currently on their roster, they only have 2 bigs. Jakob Poeltl, who has only 1 year left on his contract, and Zach Collins, who has a long injury history. They need a big man. What better time than right now to bring in Kai Sotto? Number 2, the youth movement. The Spurs right now have committed to a complete rebuild, and they have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 players on their roster that are 19 years old. Joshua Primo, Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Branham, and Blake Wesley. Kai Sotto just turned 20 this year in May. He perfectly fits in with our youth movement. And number 3, the San Antonio Spurs need a marketable player. Look, this is still a business in the end, and the Spurs have no stars right now. Their 1 all-star, DeJounte Murray, was traded to the Atlanta Hawks this week. They need somebody to sell jerseys. And I think if they draft Kai Sotto, Spurs Kai Sotto jerseys will fly off the shelves. I'm not so confident their other rookies, Jeremy Sohan, Blake Wesley, and Malachi Branham, are going to sell a ton of jerseys until they get out on the court and show they can do something. Kai doesn't have to prove anything. He's going to sell a ton of jerseys, so that's a win for the Spurs, and obviously for him as well. But there's also 3 reasons that I think Kai Sotto should sign with the San Antonio Spurs. The first one, the biggest one, get in the NBA. I don't care how you get there, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Get yourself in the NBA and then prove to the team that brought you in and the other teams in the league that you belong there and that you are going to stay there. So just get in there and show off your skills. Number 2, this is a big one. Develop his game. The Spurs have done a fantastic job at developing youth, and Kai Sotto himself recently said, yes, there's things I can work on my game. And you look at the Spurs' history of players that have developed through their system, and whether they stay with the San Antonio Spurs, like a David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and those, of course, are the anomalies. They were going to be great regardless of where they went, but players like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, then other recent players who were Spurs and left and found success, like Kawhi Leonard, left the Spurs, won a title with the Toronto Raptors. Bryn Forbes left the Spurs, went to the Milwaukee Bucks, won a title. Derek White left the Spurs and went to the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. Quinndary Witherspoon, drafted by the Spurs, went to the Golden State Warriors and is an NBA champion. So the Spurs have a legacy of having great players on their franchise and winning titles, or great players, or maybe even average players, going somewhere else and finding success. And then I just mentioned legacy. That's the third one, legacy. The San Antonio Spurs, legendary big men, David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Imagine, if you will, let's live the dream here. And Kai Sotto becomes one of the greatest Spurs of all time, has an amazing 15-year career, we'll say, and wins 1 chip, 2 chips, whatever. Imagine having your name amongst that company when people look back and say, man, the Spurs have had some of the greatest big men in the history of the game. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Kai Sotto. Now, a lot of that's going to happen. A lot of things are going to have to happen for Kai to join that company of David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and he's not there yet. Clearly, he's never played in the NBA, and I'm talking about 2 Hall of Fame NBA champions. But just to have the opportunity to have your name mentioned with them, I think that's pretty cool. Not to mention the fact Kai Sotto obviously watched Tim Duncan growing up. So I hope this happens. The Spurs have the roster room. They need a big guy, and they need something positive. The rebuild is fun, it's interesting, but they also need, to get fans excited about something. And a lot of fans are very interested in what Kai Sotto will bring in the NBA.